It's my great privilege today to be interviewing Alan Craig, who's one of my heroes, who has fought an immensely courageous battle in the United Kingdom, and he will say what it's all about, but it has been a very testing, challenging time requiring courage, wisdom, political astuteness, and I'm happy to say that it's a successful outcome, very largely due to Alan Craig. Alan, could you tell us a little bit about the significance of the Mega-Mosque, which has been a cause of concern for you?
Sure. It's a Mega-Mosque that has been proposed by an Islamic group that comes out of South Asia called Tablighi Jamaat. And they are a very, very secretive but very aggressive and growing missionary organization. They've got something like 80 million followers around the world. They follow a very narrow, intolerant form of and separatist form of Islam. And they decided they want to put up this mosque about half a mile from the stadium, which is currently being built for the 2012 Olympics. And it was clearly a huge statement. They recognized it was a statement of the advance of Islam. That's what they wanted it to be. And they bought the land many years ago. They bought the land. And then about 5 years ago, they said they were going to build this mosque, which was going to have anything between 40 and 70,000 worshippers. A huge project it was. So about 4 years, soon after that, maybe 4 years ago now, together with some local colleagues, it's about a mile from where I live. So with some local colleagues, we started a campaign against it. And we decided the best way we could do that was quite simply to lay the truth out about this particular group and their very intolerant form of Islam, and their very separatist form of Islam. And the campaign has actually gone very well. We've been helped by various other exposes of Tablighi Jamaat. So there are a number of terrorist plots with which they're associated with, although they're not a terrorist group themselves, but their followers were associated with a terrorist plot, most notably the August 2006 airline terror plot, very much a plot formulated by Tablighi Jamaat supporters. And they've done other mistakes. They put up one of their followers put up a death threat against me on YouTube. It was outrageous in and of itself, but actually in that YouTube, it was included my wife and my 2 young daughters. And the media went to town on Tablighi Jamaat over that, and the whole project, quite rightly, I mean, it's a ludicrous and offensive thing to do. So bit by bit, we've managed to keep them on the back foot, and they're still on the back foot today. I think we've managed to expose the nature of the group that wanted to build this huge platform to promote their very narrow form of Islam. And I think even the authorities, which originally started off as in favor of this iconic national mosque, now at the very least are neutral about it, and certainly I sense many of them are actually quite hostile to the idea of this mosque going ahead. So I'm grateful that we have been successful so far. It's not over yet, and there's more planning battles to be had over it, and there'll be lots of lawyers crawling all over the issue and so on and so forth. But the political side of it, the public side of it, I think we've managed to make a very successful case.
Well, I think the United Kingdom owes a great debt of gratitude to you and to your colleagues, because if it hadn't been for your very courageous interventions, people coming to the Olympic Games, the first thing they would have seen would have been this enormous mega-mosque. And I think even in its reduced form, they tried, I think, a compromise at one stage from 70,000 to 12,000. But even 12,000 is huge.
We can't stop there. If it's reduced to a neighbourhood mosque, a little neighbourhood mosque, then I think we're all good Democrats, and Muslims have the right to mosques as Christians do to churches. So if it's reduced to a neighbourhood mosque, that's okay. I think the best option, what we're aiming for, is really that the local authorities should compulsorily purchase back the site, and it can be used for the benefit of the wider community than just for this particular Muslim sect.
Alan, sitting here in the United States, I understand that there's been some news that there are plans to build a mosque just very, very near Ground Zero, about 2 blocks away. And I just wonder what your reactions are to that news.
I too have only just heard about it yesterday, and I don't know the details, although I heard it's going to be a very large one. Is it 11 stories high and quite a substantial one? I'd like to know more about it. But one of the areas I'd be looking at is for many mosques, especially for the larger mosques, they aren't only about being places of worship. A mosque is much more than a place of worship, especially the larger ones. And they're as much a statement about Islam, about the victory of Islam, about the progress of Islam, about the expansion of Islam. You'll know that in many cases, mosques are always built as the tallest building in the area. And in certain countries where there is already churches there, they will always ensure that the mosque is built higher than the steeple of the church. in order to make a statement. So I think the area I'd be looking at in New York is what is the statement behind this? If it is just a neighborhood mosque which Muslims will go to worship, well, that may be one thing. If it's not a neighborhood mosque, and it sounds quite a large one, it is much more, then it would seem to me to be an entirely inappropriate statement, so close to an area that's so sensitive, right at the heart of so many things to Americans, but indeed to the Western world, near to the ground zero. It would seem to be completely inappropriate.
And what might be your advice on the basis of the campaign you fought successfully to date in the United Kingdom to people who are concerned about this mosque being built in such close proximity to ground zero?
Stick to the facts, stick to the evidence, keep it calm, but do all you can not to whip up hysteria against Muslims. Muslims are our neighbours. We love our neighbours. They are human beings the same as we are. And I would not want to do anything to whip up hysteria against them. But if you put the facts out and we find out what the statement is, what the intention is behind this particular mosque, you expose the nature of the people behind it, what they do, what links they may have, what their ideology is, because of course Islam is a very varied religion. Put those facts out there, then I think that the sensible people in the authorities and elsewhere will make up their mind, and quite sensibly they may well make up their mind not to go ahead with this mosque. That's the approach we've taken in London, and it worked. And that's the approach I'd recommend anywhere.
Well, thank you, Alan. Thank you for being such an inspiration to us all. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.